Hello everyone, I am Sujoy and this is my another cool networking tutorial. So today in this video I am telling you how to do initial basic configuration of a Cisco router. So in this video, along with the configuration, I will tell you lots of real world concepts which will be useful for your day-to-day network operation. For example, along with the configuration, I will tell you how to insert a WAN interface card or WIC card onto a router. So this is the part 2 of the video. In part 1, I explained to you how to insert a WAN interface card and how to connect different LAN devices to a router and how to interpret the connection using the configuration. So in this part 2 of this video, I am telling you the real logical part, that is the configuration part. So here you can see we have connected two LAN devices to fast Ethernet 0/0 and 0/1 of the router and one WAN interface card on the serial port. So number 1. So let's start the configuration. So for that, first, as I mentioned, you have to insert a console cable on the console port of the router. For that you need a PC. So here drop a PC, choose connectivity and choose console. So connect one end of the console to the COM port 1 or RS232 port of the desktop and connect the other end to the console port of the router. So here the console session is established. Let's open the PC, go to desktop and go to terminal. In real life, for this console operation, you need to use a terminal emulation software such as Hyperterminal or PuTTY. But this terminal emulation software is built in Packet Tracer. So you simply go to terminal, click on OK and you will be presented with the console screen of the router. So here the router is asking for initial configuration. Press no on N and press enter, because you will be configuring the router by yourself, not by default prompt. So after entering, you will get router greater than prompt. This is called user execution mode. And next, type enable and press enter to get into privilege mode of the router. From privilege mode, you can do lots of data collection activity, but you can't do any configuration. For configuration, you have to go to configuration mode of the router. For that, type config space T and press enter. You can see the prompt changes to router bracket config hash. So you are in global configuration mode. Now this is our configuration. So first we need to set the host name of the router. Host name is just like our name. So here this is our router number 1. So type host name space the host name router 1. So you can see the router config prompt changes to router 1 config. And next we have to set the security, that is the username. So type username. So our first user is Cisco. Next type privilege, give a value between 0 to 15 or 1 to 15. So yeah, 0 to 15. So the value will be 10. Give space and then type your password. It's Cisco. Press enter. That means you are creating a user named Cisco with a privilege level of 10. 15 is the maximum privilege level and 0 is the lowest privilege level. Privilege is nothing but how much power you have. On your desktop computer, the highest powerful user is the administrator. So here the user with the privilege level 15 is called the administrator. So here we have set the privilege level 10. That means we are restricting the user from doing specific activities. I will show you the meaning of this privilege 10 at the end of the video. Next, create another user, Sujoy, and then type secret and then your password. So what is the difference? Here username Cisco space privilege 10 space password Cisco. So if you use the password command, then your password Cisco will be saved in plain text. That means anyone can enter and see your configuration value or your password. So in my previous video on router password hack, I shown you that how anyone can enter into a router and see your existing configuration and your password. But if you set a user Sujoy or any user given by secret command, then your password, which is Sujoy1, will not be easily visible. I will show you also this at the end of the video. Next, configure the enable command. Enable secret and the command password phrase, which is enable. That means to enable any operation on this router, you have to type the password, which is enable. Here you can type your own password, it doesn't matter. So as I mentioned earlier, to protect unauthorized user from seeing your password, issue a command from global configuration mode, which is service password encryption, and press enter. This will encrypt all your password into a hash value. Next command, enable the CDP space run, press enter. CDP stands for Cisco Discovery Protocol, which is a Cisco proprietary protocol used for seeing devices in the network. Seeing means if all the devices are running CDP, then you can see each device on the network. I will show you later on this. And next, you have to set a password for the console interface. For that, type line console 0 and press enter. Now type login local and press enter. So the login local command will enable this local username Cisco or Sujoy as a password on this interface. That means to be able to log in through this console interface, you have to give the username Cisco, password Cisco, or username Sujoy, password Sujoy1. That is the meaning of login local. And there is another command, you can also set the password individually on the console port. For example, if you don't want to use this Cisco password or Sujoy1 password, but if you want to enter a separate password called console on this console interface, you can also set that. Now another command is here, execute timeout 5/5/0. Here 5 denotes 5 minute and 0 denotes 0 second. That means if there is not any operation on the console port for 5 minutes, then the console port will shut down or log out. Then again you have to enter the username and password after 5 minutes. So this is another security feature. Now let's set the telnet username and password. Telnet is used for remotely logging to the router or device. So set the telnet password, you have to type line VTY0, then give a question mark. So here 0 space 15. That means on all console lines from 0 to 15, that is 16 telnet lines, you are setting this password or login local. Again, this telnet interface will use your local username and password. I will show you later this. So we are right now in config line mode. So basically from global configuration mode, that is config mode, we are now configuring the line. So again go back to global mode or one step back, type exit. It will bring you to config mode again. You have to set the IP route. So what is the meaning of IP route? Here you can see two networks 1.0 and 1.32 is directly connected to this router, and on this router there are also two networks, one is 48 and another is 64. So by default you can only connect to this networks which is directly connected to this router. Directly means physically connected via cable or wirelessly connected via Wi-Fi. But for accessing a remote network devices such as this device and this device or this PC here, you have to set a IP route. That means you have to set a routing protocol. So the IP route means nothing but to send a packet or data from this device to this device. For example, here you have to send the packet through this only link which is connecting the two routers. So on this link, on the other side of the link, the IP address is 192.168.1.74. That means if you want to connect to this device or this device, you have to send all the packets through this only interface, because this is the only interface connected all the networks over here to this router. Okay. So for example, if you want to connect to this network, which is 192.168.1.48, I have to send the packet to this interface, which is 192.168.1.74, and 73 is connected here. So this is our first route which is connecting our network 64, which is this network, with our present router. Next, there is another route, and this route is for .48 network, that is this network. Go to the console session and paste this. You can manually enter the command from global configuration mode. Type IP space route, then give the network address which you want to reach. So we want to reach the 48 network. So I will type 192.168.1.48 space subnet mask for the network you want to reach. So the 48 network is /28. That means 255.255.255.240. Then give space and enter the gateway address through which you will enter to this network. So for entering any of the networks on the right hand side, our gateway is this interface, and this interface's IP is 192.168.1.74. Press enter. So we have successfully added two routes for connecting to remote networks. Okay, next we have three interfaces: fast Ethernet 0/0 and 0/1 for LAN, and serial interface for WAN. So let's give IP address to all the networks. Interface fast Ethernet 0/0, enter. The config mode change to config if mode. If stand for interface. That means we are now in interface configuration mode. And now give the IP address. IP address for 0/0, the IP address is this IP, 192.168.1.33, and subnet mask for this IP 255.255.255.240, and press enter. Next, issue the command no shutdown. So here you can see the interface 0/0 here is right now red. That means it's down. So after giving this command no shutdown, the interface will go up. Let's check it. Yeah, it's green. Similarly, do the same for interface fast Ethernet. You can for short type FA 0/1 and give the IP 192.168.1.1 255.255.255.224. So this is a /27 network. So the subnet mask will be 255.255.255.224. Again, issue the no shutdown command. In short, no shut. So you will see also this interface is up now. Now coming to the serial interface, int let's go to one step back, int serial 0/1/0. So before you proceed to configuration, first let me explain the meaning of this interface serial 0/1/0. Here you can see, unlike the first Ethernet ports, here 3 digits are there. So first digit, which is 0, represents this is the first device. There may be more than one router connected in stack. So in that case, the 1 represents the second device. Now coming to second digit, which is 1, that means our serial card is connected to the slot 1. Let's verify it. So here you can see the serial card is connected to slot 1. If this was connected to slot 0, then it will be serial 0/0/0. Now coming to this third 0, which represents the interface number. So in serial, there are two serial interfaces. One is, as you can see, slot 1, and below is slot 0. Sorry, interface 0 and interface 1. So in serial, there are two interfaces in weak 2T. 2T means two serial interfaces. There is also one weak 1T. There is only one serial interface. You can see below, there is only one interface. So although these are not essential, but they are good to know. So let's configure the IP in our serial interface. 192.168.1.73 space 255 22255 and 252. Again give the command no shut to make this interface up also. So you can see all three interfaces are up. Now we should be able to communicate between different devices. So all three interfaces are up. Let me show you how the network works. So here there is a laptop 192.168.1.34. So from this laptop I will ping this laptop 192.168.1.2. Let's do it. Go to laptop, go to desktop, go to command prompt. Ping 192.168.1.2. Let's see if it pings. First request went timeout because the router just rebooted and the ARP cache is not generated. So you can see the console session went expired because we set a console timeout of 5 minutes. So after 5 minutes of inactivity, the console session will log out. So enter the user Sujoy and password Sujoy1. Enable. It's also asking enable password. Now let's see the CDP fun. So earlier we configured CDP. So let's type CDP neighbor. So here you can see with this router there are three devices connected. One is one switch which is connected to the fast Ethernet 0/0 port. We know here is the switch. Another switch is connected to the fast Ethernet 0/1 port, and here is that switch. And also there is one router connected, which is router 2 is connected there through the interface serial 0/1/0. That means all the devices are running CDP and they are just sending messages to each other like, hey, here I am, let's see me, or much like that. Next, configure a username, say test, privilege 0 or 5, and then password test. Okay, so we have created a user called test with privilege 5. So let's try to telnet to our router. Telnet 192.168.1.1. Enter the username test. Again give the password test. Let's try to go to config mode. But here you can see it preventing you from going to configuration mode. What is that? That is nothing but we have set the user privilege to 5. That means which is a lower privilege level than 15. So this user can only view different things but cannot configure anything on router. So that means you are giving a user privilege which cannot do any changes to router. So isn't it good? That means you can employ a local guy who can just telnet to the router, collect some logs and other daily information, but can't do any configuration changes. So they are called just lower privilege user. So, but this user can see different information. For example, see show CDP neighbor. This user can see anything but can't do anything. So, but CDP command is not stopped here. You can do a lot more with CDP, like show CDP neighbor details, and it will show you all the devices connected to this router along with their details information. For example, so first device is switch, platform Cisco 2950, capability switch, interface fast Ethernet 0/0, port ID, outgoing port is fast Ethernet 0/1. Here this interface means it is connected to fast Ethernet 0/0 port of this router, and on the switch side it is connected to 0/1 port of the switch. And hold time is 168. I will explain later about hold time in my other videos. Now this switch is running version 12.1 and the version was created, the software was created on 2005, okay, on 18th May, and advancement version 2. Now there is another device which is also a switch, and there is a third device which is a router. Let's see. The router has the IP address 192.168.1.74. Router model number is 1841, which is our router 2. And here is the router name, router 2. And the router is connected to 0/1/0 port of our present router. And on the remote router, it is connected via serial 0/0 port. Now, the router is running this iOS and software version is 12.4 and the software was created on 2007. So isn't it cool? Using CTP, you can log into remote network via telnet and issue the command show CDP neighbor to gather all the devices which is connected to that device. So CTP is excessively used in real life for making the network design or network diagram. If your boss asks you next day that tell me what are the devices connected to this router, so you will simply telnet to this router and issue the command show CDP neighbor details. It will tell you all the Cisco devices connected to this router along with their IP addresses and versions. Without physically visiting this site, without physically connecting to this router, you can gather all the informations. Isn't it cool? So that's it for now. How was the video? Let me know in the comments below. Please like and share the video and subscribe to my YouTube channel. So thanks for watching. See you in my next video, and still then stay connected by subscribing.